So, hi, welcome everybody. I want to welcome everybody to tonight. I feel so fortunate that we have Dr. Ryan Goodkin with us tonight to do a Q&A, and particularly because Ryan, you and Lisa do so much education, whether you do, you have your product focus Zooms that you do and you answer questions while you're going through it. And I was just saying to you, when I've emailed Lisa, I don't know how many times, and she doesn't know me from Adam. It's not like I'm somebody special, but she has gotten right back to me with huge levels of detail. And so it's one of the things that's, what has come through in her emails has been her passion around the company, yours and hers passion around the products and your mission. And I believe you. I mean, part of my passion is from your passion. Sure. So I want to open by just maybe I want to acknowledge you and appreciate you, and then ask you to let's get to know you a little bit. Can you tell us, when we see you, you're the product formulator, we know a little bit about your background, but how did you get to this? You were in pharmacy. Where did the doctor come from? How did you find your way into product formulating, and how did you and Lisa partner? Can you just, give us some history on your passion for nutrition and wellness?
Yeah.
And your education?
Certainly would love to do that, Lisa. And I'll try to keep it semi-brief because I could go so many different ways and rabbit holes on this just little piece here. But, could you imagine, I'm an outdoor enthusiast. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I'm just a healthy love. I want to maximize the amount of life that I have on this planet. And I really try to do that day in and day out in a very practical way. So when I realized that pharmacy was my path educationally through the didactic system, then licensure and practice, man, did I really hit a wall quick. I just became so very disenchanted with the entire industry, the sick care model, the pharmaceutical industry. I did go receive the bachelor's in science degree. I was very much involved in science. I love biology and chemistry. And nutrition and fitness. And then I went and found pharmacy. I got my doctorate in pharmacy. And, I came out, I did some time with the big box chain retailers. I then started in a clinical setting on my own. So we had a clinical setting where it was more proactive and preventive. But before I got there, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, man, nobody's taking control of their lives. Nobody is stepping up to the plate, no one. But such a small fraction of our population worldwide, domestic, it doesn't matter, is taking control of their health. They're letting too many other people, companies dictate their care. And many times it becomes way too late. Then they go right into the sick care model, and it becomes a very wicked cycle because you're diagnosed, then you can see a physician, then you can get coverage, and then you can get your therapy, your treatment, your medication, then you can stay in the system and repeat that time and time again and continue to be prescribed medications that are typically, honestly, being used to treat side effects of possibly other medicine. I've seen that a lot. And so I'm just when I came full circle and realized I'm out of this thing, I said, I was just so burned out so quickly. Wow, how does a career kind of take so long to get up to launch and hit such a high level, and then just boom, just failure to launch totally. And something, I don't know what it was. It just must have been my curious nature, or just my focus on health, and not being sick. So that is what propelled me into the world of nutrition and dietary supplements and healthy living. And then of course my partnership with Ben and Naughter had come from their varied backgrounds in business and network marketing. And I was just like, okay, I can't believe I'm given this beautiful opportunity, but let's run with it. And I've been able to have full control over the supplements and the messaging around that. And so I think that's what you see, Lisa. I think that's the passion that you pick up on from me, is that I'm not hamstrung by anybody or anything. And this is my business, and I want to see it be very successful, and I think it will be. It's already showing that it has the ability to do that. Of course, we have some growing pains, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But Lisa, if you'd like me to go in explore any of those things further, let me know. But otherwise, I'll send it back to you.
Sure, thank you. So with the part about your business, this is just, I'm going to ask some of my questions, and I want to invite people. Some people have already sent me questions, but I've always wondered, like, what kind of constraints do you have? When you start, right, you have this mission to create the best products on planet Earth and still keep it affordable. What kind of, when you go into formulating a product, how do those balance out? What do you have to look at? Like, how do you decide what to put in and where does the budget side come? Because one of the biggest pushbacks we get is, how could products be this good at these prices? I mean, even below Amazon for greens, reds, your aminos. Oh my gosh. Anyway, how do you balance that equation? What's the formulation process like?
Yeah, no doubt. So there's really two big questions that you just put in there. I'm going to just carve them out real quick. But it is a balance. You're right. And it's honestly comes down to efficacy. But how do we get to the price point? Like, the price point actually can be lower. If you look at our business and you look at Ben and listen to Ben and you talk about the mission we're on, there is like no overhead. Like, there's no salaries to shareholders, us. There is no fancy office with, big glass windows overlooking waterfront. I mean, we're sitting in our homes and we're wearing t-shirts and we're really being authentic and genuine. And we're really going at it from a very low overhead model, and it's working. It works. I mean, you look at other network companies, Nautilus will specify exactly who they are. I mean, they really are. They're like flaunting their lifestyle. They're telling people, if you make 50,000 in a month, to go out and buy an expensive car and show it off and use that as like your marketing leverage. And we're like, no, that makes no sense. That's irresponsible. And so we really try to come at it from like, somewhat of a fiduciary, perspective, where we try to be responsible with money and recognize that we are capable of doing so much on our own without spending a whole ton of it on overhead. Anyway, that truly is where it resides. That is absolutely the truth. What we do now from a formulation perspective, I focus on efficacy. I get tons and tons of questions about why this ingredient, why that ingredient. And many times I have to rely back on the literature. I still am a pharmacist. I'm still evidence-based. I still try to back into something that is, I can support it. I can support the claim, and that's what I try to do very, very often. The amino acids are a great example. Like, many of those amino acids, they're fermented amino acids. They're not expensive. They're not, when you come in, when you approach it from a bulk sourcing perspective, they're cheap. They're cheap. I mean, most products you can make for $10, really, truthfully. And look, we add, like for instance, like I was so adamant. I was very, very adamant about citrulline. And that's what we did in the amino acids. We put 3,000 milligrams, so 3 grams of citrulline. I wanted that actually in the Reds product, but it wouldn't work with the Reds. It wouldn't work on the size. It wouldn't work with the organic certification. And I was like, all right, fine. Then we're going to go and we're going to make an amino. It's a kind of a pre-workout concept anyway, but it's really good for muscle. And the citrulline, it works on the nitric oxide pathway. So I was like, all right, well, let's move it over here and let's make it work over here. But nobody really knows it's in there. And Lisa, if you love it, you'll see it. Like, the citrulline and arginine, those two are like the main precursors to nitric oxide. And I'm like, all right, great. Like, sometimes I have to move things a little bit, but at the end of the day, if it's a really expensive ingredient, I'll give you a little tidbit right now. One I'm struggling with immensely, like collagen. You can buy some really cheap collagen, really, really cheap, like super cheap bovine collagen. Sources come from mixed farms. It's all blended, and then it comes in, and it's like, but no, I have to have a clean, pasture raised. I want grass fed, grass finished bovine collagen, and that's something I'm working on right now. We're almost done. We're going to be going into production very soon, and it will drive the price up. You'll see our price. We're shooting for obviously a low price point relative to market, which is not hard to do, because again, the markup that these companies are doing on their like their dietary supplements is sort of outrageous, but they have to pay the bills, and they have tons and tons of expensive overhead, and that's kind of the gist of that.
So excited for collagen.
Yeah,
and I know we'll be talking a lot about that.
Sure.
Definitely, but definitely, I don't want to jump to the end first. I want to stay good, but I want to get into what's coming down the pipe. But let's go first back to the product development. Talk about a little bit about your relationship with your manufacturers.
Sure. It's
how you choose organic, not organic. How long have you been working with them? What, I know you've got your COAs and all that.
Yeah.
Certificate of analyses. But talk about your relationship and how you work with your manufacturers to do this and make
Right,
sure.
yeah, so they are manufacturing partners. So there's really two main facilities. Our first main facility is in Florida. It's in Fort Myers, Florida, and our other facility is in New York. Now, beyond so the relationship there is that's our team. Those are our people, right? That is thoroughly vetted from day one. I mean, I've been in production with them for over 2 years. You know, we just launched. I mean, we launched pretty much in June of last year, but prior to that, it was still another year or more of working with formulating, going back and forth, sourcing the raw ingredients, bringing the raw ingredients in, validating. So let me back up for a second. A raw ingredient, okay, if it's an organic raw ingredient and it's USDA certified organic, you have to vet the policies and procedures according to CGMP. So the manufacturing facility will have CGMP. That's a certification that I consider a minimum standard. Some people think, oh, if they have it, it's so good, but it's a minimum standard for me. But when we go out to look and source the raw ingredients, you know, we have to then validate their process. So if they are USDA certified organic, we have to go through and look at their process and make sure that they do have the proper testing and that they do have the proper certifications. And then we actually have to test their raw ingredients. So we'll take a sample in, we'll test it, make sure it matches the COA that was provided from the raw ingredient supplier. And then we say, okay, it's approved. Then we bring it in and then we run it, we test it, it goes into finished product and we test it again. I mean, the testing is so extensive, it's kind of crazy. I mean, but again, testing isn't expensive. It's not like it's a big cost to test. Some of the testing sort of does drive up costs, like if you're trying to do halal or if you're trying to certain gluten-free certifications, even though it's still tested for gluten-free, certain things are expensive. Obviously, USDA certified organic is kind of the gold. It's like it's the big one, right? I mean, you have to have every one of your suppliers USDA organic, and that's a reason why our protein's not. So an example of a relationship with our supplier, the protein. I love our fermented pea protein. It's Myco IQ is the website. I absolutely love it. It is fermented with mushroom mycelia. They are not USDA certified organic. They could be. I've talked to the owner. I said, guys, you really should consider USDA certified organic certification. It's the only thing holding our product up from being organic. But I said, I don't care. I'm going with you because I know the people, I know the process, I know the product. You know, and look, even their website, you can read through and really get a good understanding of what does it mean to ferment peas and why is it a good thing. And so I'm like, so they're a fantastic partner, but I had to give up a little bit and not get the USDA organic because I wanted to work with them so bad. Another example, we just ran out of reds, a USDA certified organic red. So one of the ingredients is called a chokeberry. It's aronia berry. It's mostly in the Midwest, Northwest. This farm is the only family. It's the only dedicated family domestic source of aronia berry in the country. Other farms have aronia, but this is dedicated to aronia. And you know, seasonally, it could be challenging. And so we just ran into a seasonal issue. You know, we had to wait a little bit longer to get the raw ingredient. We could have possibly tried to source it elsewhere, but I didn't even want to consider it. I was like, no way. It's a family-run farm in Iowa. I mean, it's a very, you know, so it's a very personal thing to me as well. I mean, those are two probably really good examples, but just so you know, like, of course, some of the products that we make aren't always going to qualify as USDA organic. They're just not. That's a question I also get a lot too. All right, what did I miss, Lisa?
No, that was great. No, that actually addresses it completely because not being organic, you're only doing that. You're only going not organic when it's because you have a better choice, because you have something that is preferable, and because you do have these relationships with these manufacturers. Yeah. And I think for me, the level of care that you all show and consider in your product formulation is just amazing. Like, to be honest, I'd be willing to pay more. Yeah. The fact that we don't have to is amazing. Like, we're so fortunate. And so I think when people understand that what we have here, the quality, I personally have done some comparisons. I just want to toss this out real quick. I don't want to speak too much. I want you to do the speaking, but like some of there was another company that was in where they charged twice for the aminos. They don't have the electrolytes that you have in your aminos. And I work out a lot and I play a lot of tennis in very hot sun. So those electrolytes are important to me.
Sure.
They use sucralose. You're using stevia.
Sure.
And theirs is twice the price, doesn't have nearly as much in it, and they've got sucralose. So even your sweetener choice is, something, healthier. And I know you have monk fruit in some of your products too. So, that level is something that you just want people to really get, and not just assume that, you get what you pay for. And if you're going to spend $80, that you're going to get something better than we're getting for 18. It's completely not true. So I had some specific questions, like, why don't you take medication at the same time as D3? Someone asked me to ask that. I'm going to toss it out there.
I think the question probably is, are you saying why not take the multivitamin or magnesium at the same time as D3, or is there a specific medication?
No, like I guess prescriptions, if you have prescriptions. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that I don't think I've ever said there's any med that I would necessarily avoid. What I have said in the past is that magnesium should be separated from the multi. But D, I'm okay with being with the multi and with other, say, meds, even though I don't know what meds we're talking about. I really don't care. As long as it's with some food, I typically would recommend it to be with a little bit of food. And of course, there are some medications that need to be taken by themselves on an empty stomach, like thyroid comes to mind. Like, sorry, I got something in my eye. Thyroid comes to mind. So I don't know where that question came from, Lisa. Maybe you have something more.
You know what? Let's let that go. We can always email Lisa with that as well. So back I want to ask you about your CBD, because that's one of the things that, I actually, have people say, look, it costs so much to make a good CBD, and there's so much skepticism about what goes into CBD. Can you talk a little bit about your sourcing and quality standards and manufacturing relationships there?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I came into this business not really knowing a whole lot about CBD. I knew about the brand that the FDA approved for, seizures, Epidiolex. And of course, I heard about Charlotte's Web. So from a pharmacy perspective, I did know a little bit. Coming into sourcing, I was like, oh, geez. So I sought out a company called GVB Biopharma, and I can share that link with you. I've given that out through email too. They actually supply us with our bulk CBD. They're the leader. For me, it's like, I don't know exactly. So I tried to go with the leader in the industry, and that's what we did with GVB Biopharma. If you check their website, they're solid. Every question is basically answered. Everything, there's full transparency, because they're right. You're right. People should be concerned. They really should be concerned about CBD, because again, you're harvesting from a hemp plant, so potentially there's higher amounts of psychoactive THC. Potentially the plant's a phytoremediator, so maybe it's grown in bad soil and taking up a lot of pesticides, or especially heavy metals. There's all these things that go into it, and at the end of the day, how many corners have people been cutting that have been making CBD oil and not putting the full amount of CBD into finished product? And that's a thing too, right? So that's where testing comes in. So knowing your source, which we're very transparent and open about knowing our source. And then, of course, testing. And we're fortunate in some regard, especially in the state of Florida, but we're fortunate because the testing is so stringent. You have to test finished product, and it's no joke. Like, I know people get away with not doing it, but it's a serious matter for sure.
Oh, that's great information. And so as far as the CBD, you're saying that the manufacturer is one that makes really the top brands out there. What kind of prices are those other CBDs selling at that are coming from that exact same manufacturer?
I follow trends too. I'm really following industry, and a few companies that are big publish their data on CBD. It is dropping so precipitously. The sales are going down because people are still there. These companies are still trying to hang on to the same 1,500 milligram, bottle at $79 to $159. You're just like, who in their right mind would pay that? And to me, it just doesn't strike a good, say, benefit, cost benefit analysis. It really just misses the mark for me. That's why when we came into the market, I'm like, we have to just undercut everybody. And to your point, though, you're right. You get a lot of people raising eyebrows. How are they able to do that? But you'll see. Watch what happens here soon, Lisa. They're all coming down. All CBD prices will be dropping out here. Otherwise, they will have no sales.
Yeah, well, they won't come down as far as LiveGood, I'm guessing. They probably can't.
Not. They can't afford to. They're gonna have
They can't afford to.
They're gonna have major layoffs, you know?
Yeah. Well, this has been great. I want to ask you, you mentioned collagen, and we're super excited to get that. What's kind of your vision for your priorities? I mean, I have people all the time saying, oh, I'd love to see a great creamer, MCT creamer. Or I'd love, I have my own list. We all have our list of products we'd love to see LiveGood do. What's your list?
We're there. We're going to be there. We're going to go for 200 plus products, and we're taking in everything you guys email me your input, what you like, what you want to see. Right now, the collagen is so hot. It took me a while to convert. It took me seriously a long time. And guess what? I ended up staying right back where I started. Types 1 and 3, bovine, clean bovine, pasture raised, grass fed, grass finished, and hydrolyzed. Because guess what? For years, people were trying to sell collagen. It was just this giant, large molecule. The stomach couldn't even absorb it. It was so big. They finally started hydrolyzing it and breaking it down into smaller peptides. And that's where the technology is now. But I was not comfortable putting it in a liquid. So I said, look, let's set on a powder. It's got better shelf life, better stability. I know that if it's sold, I know it's stable. I know people are consuming what we say is on the label. And we're not having to add a whole bunch of preservatives and different chemicals in it. So I know people are real anxious for a liquid collagen, but we're not going to be able to meet it. I can't get there with a clean label design. And that's my priority. I want to make clean label. So collagen is a big one, but it's not the collagen by itself that we're so excited about. When I roll out, and I'm not able to tell you guys exactly yet what they are, but when I roll out some of these other branded ingredients that are in there. So the cool thing about branded ingredients, when you use them, so all it is people take an ingredient, they do studies, they have a unique form of it, they do a study on it, they put a patent on it, and it becomes like a brand. So we have a few branded ingredients coming out in our collagen. Usually that drives up price significantly. But wait till you see the science behind it. It is literally going to be the only collagen product on the market like it. And it actually goes beyond just providing collagen. It helps the body slow down the breakdown of collagen. There's a lot of really cool science behind it. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that real soon. It's a fantastic product. Very excited. Probably I would say 2 to 3 months, we should be having it. We'll have it for sale. We're getting close. It takes time. Lead times, by the way, I know it's not so much of a supply chain issue anymore, but lead times are still long. They are still long. It's one of the ingredients is sourced. It's from a small farm in Australia. I mean, so again, it's you got to wait on it and it takes time. So that's what's happening next. Beyond that, there's all kinds of whispers. I mean, I've whispered about the gummy. I really like gummy. I'm trying to get gummy. I know people are starting to get, I keep calling it capsule fatigue. People are tired of taking oral supplements, but I mean, ultimately that's usually the best way to get it. So I'm okay with it, but messing with gummy. We talked about doing some stick packs, some different things. I'm trying to run through. We have a hit list. Yeah, we're trying to just easy things on the go that make sense. And then you'll hear Ben and Nodder too. Hint: we started with dietary supplements. We don't have to only stay with dietary supplements. I see essential oils in our world. I see a transdermal, maybe some type of pain cream or some type of something transdermal. I did that a lot in my pharmacy world. I understand that space very well. Children's, we've looked and I've evaluated different ways to attack the children's market because I hate to say it. I have 2 little ones, 8 and 10, but the nutrient deficiencies are very real and they're starting at a young age.
And you lose control of the kids. You feed them what you feed them, but as soon as they get into school, I remember going through this when mine were little. You can look at me pretty and see that that's been a while, but you lose control when your kids get into school. You teach them the best you can, but they get hold of Skittles and Doritos, and
you want to hear a really cute story? My 10-year-old, for some reason, latched onto it and created a New Year resolution to avoid red number 4, actually all artificial dyes. So Skittles gone.
Love it.
Lisa, she's still holding to it. We're in the middle of April. Can you believe that? 10 years old.
Well, look at her parents.
But I'm we don't force it. We try to be that flexible level of fun and and smart and sensible. And man,
Right.
I'm so proud of that because you keep hearing it. Look at the dye conversation that's going on right now.
Oh, it's been going on for a long time. I'm
Yeah.
so there. And that was another thing that I've seen in some of these products. I'm like, seriously, you've got dye in your products. Like
Correct.
to me in network marketing, that I do believe that some of the best products out there are sold in network marketing.
So do I.
I don't expect to see dye and sucralose and, a protein, what do you call protein isolates,
Sure.
isolates, like that's like such an old technology, right? So I mean, those kinds of things I don't expect to see in the space. You're going to charge big bucks, like give us a quality. And most of them are. I think most of the products out there are good. I think the bigger issue really becomes the value at the price is the bigger issue in our industry because there are so many great products. This is super exciting. And speaking of skincare, we have 3 products now from Skinny Body, Lentis,
Yeah.
and it's great. I mean, these are products, the skincare at least we're selling for $60 elsewhere. I've seen them on eBay for $60 and we're paying like under 15 for these products and they work, they're phenomenal. Is that something that you see us doing, is getting other products like from other companies? Is that sort of just the tail end of this? Do you think we'll see other products perhaps coming from other companies, or are they going to be pretty much all proprietary going forward?
That's a great question. I'm open to it because a lot of companies, like you said, will start a fantastic product because I believe that. I believe network marketing has driven some of the best products on the market. They will have a failure to launch problem. And especially if they're trying to fill the void on large back-end office overhead. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that are dropping and they'll have, 15, 20,000 units of stuff they just made and nothing to do with it. And maybe it's an opportunity for us to come in at like, whatever, the discount, 5-10 cents on the dollar or more, but and then offer it to our members for next to nothing. And we think it's a great product. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually like that idea. And that's
actually like the Costco does both. Amazon does both, right?
That's right.
They have their own brands and then they have other people's brands,
Right.
I think it's great. So tossing out just, I have Sue is saying, hey, can we get some shampoo and body wash and cleaning, cleaning products and protein bars? I think, food, consumable stuff like that would be fabulous. Would you be behind that? Would you be
big time? Yeah, actually cleaning and household is a big target for me. Big time target. We make a lot of our own soaps and sprays and disinfectants right now at home. We're not super granola. Like, I don't know if that term even means anything to anybody, but like, we're not, I wouldn't mind being, but we just, it's sensible, it's easy, and I don't have to use some other company's overpriced, chemical rich product. I can get away with a simple homemade. But we're looking at that extensively. I think that's an area that would make a lot of sense. I think it would make a lot of sense.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to that. And Penny said, please get us some Fulvic from Mineral Logics. They only do bulk and other companies charge a fortune.
Fulvic, I am familiar with that. Where did you just see that?
Penny posted in the chat.
Let me look at something real quick. Google. That was Fulvic, right? Why is that so familiar? It's incredibly.
I think I have some in my refrigerator. It's a big detoxifier, right, Penny?
Fulvic.
Yeah, Penny says,
yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I remember.
I use it too.
I had a customer in a compounding situation where they wanted to use it topically. Now I'm recalling. Okay, yeah.
So they use it. I use it in a dropper form, a liquid that you add to water, and Penny says she uses it in powder.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, I think anything kind of detox is such a good fit for what we do. And yep, she just said Fulvic is a detox. Like I said, that's what I use it as well. And Sue just said a detox. So, let you put your brain to it, but as a category detox, and then you can come up with what you think makes the most sense.
For sure.
Yeah. So I know that there's so much opportunity and there's only so many resources you can throw at anything, but it's exciting to look at the future because, we're starting out with 15 great products, but, the future is so bright, the opportunity to put all types of products under this umbrella is so exciting. So that's, something I think we're all excited
It
about.
is, Lisa. And I think that people are going to look at LiveGood and say, well, what are they doing? They want to try not to compete with us. I really think we can be the Amazon of a lot of these home-based business. There's nothing to say we couldn't, right? I mean, it's a very real scenario that makes a lot of sense to a lot of people.
Yeah, it sure does. So are there any other, we're just at a half hour now, and I want to honor your time and everyone else's
going.
time as well. Is there any, does anybody else have any, oh, Sue commented, and she's so right. The fact that we can communicate directly with our product development team is outstanding. It really is. Like I opened by saying that, Lisa's responses when I was first getting going and people were firing questions at me, and just the level of detail she would come back to me with. And y'all, I just so you know, I emailed Lisa. I had not ranked. I mean, I might've been bronze, but I was like not anything at that point. And it wasn't like Lisa was like, oh, there's Lisa Vivori. She's somebody, I should respond to her. She didn't know me from Adam. And she got back to me with right away, sometimes same day, at least the next day, with incredible amount of detail. And that helped when, again, I opened by saying, I could see her passion about and the commitment to quality and her knowledge of what was going on and her level of care that we understood that and appreciated it. So, definitely, you probably will have to get some help at some point, Ryan, because you all are going to be inundated as we continue to grow. So, you're going to have to spend a little money on some help at some point. So, but we sure appreciate you being here and helping us. Is there anything else that I should have asked that I didn't? Anything you want to share that I didn't hit?
Oh, I always want to share, but like you said, I want to respect other people's time. I think
people can drop off. So if you have something, please share it. Go for it. We've got you.
No, I kind of preach about it, Lisa, and I hate to sound like it's like this, negative thing. I always get these opportunities to speak on calls. I'm like, I'm sorry if I sound doom and gloom, but like, it's time that we open our eyes, and start fighting back. I mean, the big business sector, the big food, the big farm, and the big pharma. I mean, they're all in cahoots. I mean, at the end of the day, the system is fixed, and it's hard to break out of it. It's hard to see through it, and we have to take control of our health. I mean, dietary supplements is only one aspect of it. I always tell people this is just one of my pillars of health. You have to focus on a lot of other areas, and you make it fun. You include it in your daily life. You talk to others. You share the word. And I've gotten away from saying be a product of the product, but I mean, yeah, start incorporating some healthy living habits in your life. I mean, you can't sit back and wait for someone else to do it for you. I mean, this is like, it's so clear, and I think the more that we speak and the more we get out there and talk to people, if you just lead with the message that we care and we're trying to help people get healthy, it kind of speaks for itself. And if people just aren't ready, they're not ready. But there's also the financial opportunity that's so easy, and we're seeing duplication. Like according to the marketers, partners of mine, never's been seen before, never been done, unprecedented. I'm like, geez, really? Like, it's that good? Like, is it really that? And I'm like, hey. But I'm constantly focused on the product side and helping people achieve a better health outcome in their life. And so I get a lot of emails regarding chronic disease and drug interactions, and I do take time. You're right, Lisa. I probably cannot sustain that for long, and it's easy enough to get people to help me with it. But ultimately, I do want to have a personal touch. I do want to have a connection with the people that are trying to make change in their life. Obviously, I'm not going to respond to gibberish and a lot of the junk that I get, but when the people take the time to communicate with me on a health topic, I really want and try to focus on getting back to them in a detailed manner. Same with Lisa. Lisa is funny. She is all day just punching away at it. And I have to work from a desktop. I don't do the cell phone thing so well. So she's funny. She can crank it out on the cell. But ultimately, that's what drives us. That's our passion. I mean, I hope people make financial success out of it, but ultimately for me, it's the product.
Yeah,
so I'll end with that, Lisa.
Well, there's no financial success without those products. So,
yeah.
And so the other thing I did want to ask about weight loss. I get a lot of people say, gosh, I just, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds, whatever. And I know the coffee, a lot of people don't drink coffee. what would you sort of recommend if somebody comes to you and, joins our company today? I personally believe that I don't, I believe that these products help me stay satiated, like having reds, greens, aminos, electrolytes, the protein powders. I feel like the coffee, for me, these products are, and I eat pretty well and I exercise, but I feel like they help me stay satiated and not crave junk.
Mhm.
But what would you say if somebody came in wanting to lose weight? And typically a lot of times people look toward weight loss products, right? How could people use our products to help that journey?
Yeah, let's do three things here. Let's break it in three categories. Let's start with one being calorie deficit and just eating. Number two, let's talk about pharmaceutical. Number three, let's go to the LiveGood concept of weight loss. So number one, I don't believe in calorie deficit. It might help short term, but it will be detrimental long term. So if you, for yourself, as an instant, Lisa, you're using a Reds or a powder or something to help with being more satiated, that's okay, but there's really very little calories there. So I'd be worried that you're not meeting your calorie demands. And by doing that, your body starts to cut into your healthy lean muscle mass, and it starts to eat away at itself in a lot of ways. You just become almost, gosh, it just escaped me. What's the term? Sarcopenia. It's like the skinny fat syndrome, kind of thing. It's just not a healthy place to be. So calorie deficit, short-term, okay. Long-term, definitely not. Pharmaceuticals, though. Have you guys all heard about what's going on in the pharmaceutical space right now with the diabetic meds? They were originally developed as Ozempic. Now they're called Wegovy. There's another one called Mounjaro. They're injectables. They act like a hormone in your gut. 10 to 20% body weight loss. 10 to 20% we're seeing loss of body weight. It's unbelievable. No other weight loss drug has ever achieved it. The anorexins, the thermogenics, all the uppers and the stimulants that they've used for the years in the big pharma world, nothing has come close. Nothing. This is so groundbreaking, but there's a huge downside to it, right? So you go on to these injectable drugs, which are, by the way, very expensive. But if people want to sort of reset, and that's what kind of happens with people as they age and they get in bad habits and they've been doing it for so many years and they finally make a decision, I'm going to make a change, but it's hard. It's very hard. You can hit a reset button with like something like that pharmaceutical. And trust me, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just speaking to the science of it. But if you did that, you could potentially lose 10 to 20% of your body weight. But if you don't make lifestyle changes and you don't incorporate the things that we talk about and all the things that I want people to do, that weight will come back on. So that's no fun. You go through this expensive course of therapy, you inject yourself once a week subcutaneously, and then you come off of it and the weight comes back. Well, that's okay. That's super frustrating, probably a net loss at the end of the day. The other thing that I caution people about is if you were to go on to a pharmaceutical like that, you also are losing weight. You're losing weight. So that means you're losing your fat, you're also losing your bone density, and you're losing your muscle tissue as well. So that's where like the LiveGood concept comes in. We focus so heavily on this idea of healthy lean muscle mass. I try to tell people to lose the scale, not to focus on the weight number, because if you're losing fat tissue, I want you building back lean muscle mass, because it's not going to move the scale. The scale won't go really anywhere, but I want you to drop the fat and put on muscle. And that's why the concept with LiveGood has been this lean body pack. It's just simply amino acids, it's protein, it's your essential vitamins and minerals. I mean, those are the things that help your muscle build and restore and maintain. I mean, there's a study where amino acids were given to bed rest versus non-bed rest. Both parties. So both subjects were bed rest. One was placebo, one was amino acids. And the amino acid group retained more muscle, which is staggering. It's crazy to think that muscle mass is retained just by consuming amino acids, but it's true. That's what ends up happening. It breaks down your muscle tissue to feed the rest of your body. And so ultimately, that's the premise for us. I like to promote lean muscle mass. I'm not saying go out and get jacked and have to focus on this bodybuilding concept, but definitely need to have load-bearing exercises in your life. And if you don't know where to start it, that can be tough. A lot of viewers, a lot of people are rural, don't have access to good advice. YouTube is a place, Google's a place. I mean, and I could point you in some of those areas. Lisa's a fantastic resource for that. She's a personal trainer, an exercise physiologist, a nutritionist, as well as a health coach. So, there's a lot of that that in my mind, that's where I want people to go with it. And they may get frustrated, you know, they may like feel like that, but the change should be small. It's not going to be dramatic unless you are doing a pharmaceutical or you're doing a severe calorie deficit in a short amount of time to jumpstart your system. But no, you have to eat to feed muscle. You've got to consume the right protein. Typically, we're under consuming protein. You have to consume the healthy fats. And you're, you know, you don't want to avoid all carbohydrates, but your carbohydrate sources should be healthy, you know, soluble fiber and whole grains. And so, you know, it's not in my mind, it's not a function of a fad diet, but a lifestyle. And it's so easy, it's fun, it's educational, you get to learn more and you become more aware. The system, again, you go into the grocery store, it's like that's like a war zone for many people. I mean, the bright colors, all the advertising, the way that they place food in certain aisles, and you can't even win. It's hard to win. You know, the healthy stuff is so far out of reach and out of sight, you know, that it's hard to get there. So I know that's a little bit long-winded answer. And if you guys have any questions on the pharmaceutical side, I'm happy to answer them. I'm not a huge advocate for it, but I mean, you can't argue the science. It works. It is working, but it has certainly its own trade-off. Back to you, Lisa.
Actually, that's super helpful. And I'm not really all about this, but some people probably are. It'd be kind of cool to have some teams do, you know, some support for this sort of thing. Like, you know, maybe you and Lisa could sort of, you or Lisa, I'm sure it won't be both, but maybe you could support some of the top leaders in creating some support for, you know, weight loss, incorporating products, but it's not about selling products. One of the things, again, that I love about this company is we're not selling products, right? Mm-hmm. We have these products available, but it's about how to use these products to improve your healthy lifestyle, along with exercise, along with better diet, along with shopping the perimeters of the supermarket or whatever it is. And there's a lot of that out there, but it might be kind of fun for, you know, our LiveGood family to do something like that.
I agree.
I know we're growing so fast, but it would be kind of, you know, I think it'd be kind of fun, kind of cool. I think a lot of people would appreciate that. I'd be interested in getting people's feedback here and in general on that.
We're fine. We're kind of coming up with ways right now, Lisa, too, to engage on the Zoom platform where we could address health topics and really dive into different things. And I've Lisa have different ideas on how to make substitutions, and whether it's food, whether it's some type of exercise, whether it's a routine, a sleep routine. Like that's one of my, like I'm big on sleep and huge on that category. You know, so there's all these like little things and lifestyle things we can compile the comments from the audience as well as combine them with ours and share. It's just, I love for it to be a platform of sharing, a focus on maybe some different pillar of health. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. I think that would be fun and impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are, you know, so Sue just posted that she likes that idea and reversing diabetes too. I mean, that's, you know, diabetes too is completely a lifestyle disease. So, totally. Yeah, there's a lot that we can do. And, you know, we're all focused on helping people, growing our businesses and all that. But, you know, being able to actually really dig in and support people along the way would be amazing. What is your opinion on energy drinks?
Not good, not favorable. I mean, there's certainly some things that'll help, but I mean, as far as energy drink goes, you know, look out there in the market. I mean, we could probably disrupt it with something, but anytime you put water in a product and ask it to sit stable and maintain its potency, it's pretty tough to do. It really is tough. So that's why there's all these preservatives and other nastiness in there. And then the flavoring, don't get me started on the added sugars. Way too much caffeine, way too much thermogenics. I mean, it's just not good for the heart. I think I saw a comment earlier, of course not. You know, you start piling on all that stuff. Heart disease is so common, diabetes is common. It's junk stuff. It's like junk food, you know. That's why I say, hey, mix the aminos. I would love a stick pack of aminos or something like that.
I'd love to see, I mix these. I'd love to see this stuff in sticks, because it's stuff that you take to the gym, take to the tennis court, pickleball court, whatever you're, you know, right. Basketball, whatever you're playing. And it's definitely something that you could, you know, the kids, you know, young athletes, like, you know, how many kids like pass out on a football field in hot Georgia summers, for example, you know, wherever.
That's right.
You know, that could really just be on the go and helpful would be incredible. which leads me to one other thing. I'm gonna switch a little bit direction. This is a pet peeve for me, or like, this is something I'd like to see. I'd love to see us move from plastic to pouches. Any
Yes,
chance?
me too. Anything environmentally conscious, I love to. Thankfully, we're not in a single-use plastic space right now where I don't have to think about that while I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm with you, Lisa. I'm open. I hit the manufacturing partner so hard on that, because something sustainable at a decent price point where we can get this out to the masses. Even the bags, I think, are having issues though, right? I mean, as far as I know, with deteriorating and breaking down.
Really? That I hadn't heard that.
It's the liners typically.
Oh, wow. I was thinking it'd be, better for the environment, and also, more room in your cupboard and less,
Sure.
lower shipping cost, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I wasn't aware there was an issue with the bag. And Penny just said, yeah, and bags don't always zip either. So yeah, there are some, there are obviously some challenges, but you're balancing environmental concerns and shipping cost concerns and all that.
It's tough.
Diane commented, bacteria forms in moisture. She also commented she loves her aminos. So
yeah, that's why I just said about the water. So what she just said right there, yeah, sterility, maintaining sterility, it's tough. Bacteria, with water is not stable. So anytime there's a drink, you typically have that concern, and that would be my issue with the collagen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask this. I was kind of holding off, but there some of the top brands in network marketing are liquids, like all of the ones that I know of.
I know.
Network marketing are liquids. What are we going to be saying?
Yeah.
We launch a
I'd love for them to tell us, show your stability. Should get a potency test after 60 days of having that container open. I'm just saying.
What if it's like the pouch? What if it's the pouches?
That's a little different. Single-use pouches are fine. That's not a problem. But now they chose to go that route. They're still going to have preservatives in that as well, and solubilizers and ways to maintain that in solution. Liquid's just challenging.
And it's expensive too. When you get into single packs, that's got to be pricey.
It does for sure. Stick packs are outrageous price right now. Outrageous.
Yeah. Well, we'll make it work. We're just, so that's, we'll I see that you think about all these things, and these are concerns as you're designing your products. I'm sure packaging is part of a product, and I'm sure you're going through all these considerations when you're doing it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I cannot tell you, we are grateful, and there will be a lot of people watching this well beyond, who's here tonight. We're going to definitely put this out there so people can go back and watch, but I feel like I'm going to unmute people so they can say hi. The people who are still here, I'm going to figure out how to do it. Okay. I want to unmute everybody. Okay, now I just allowed you. I don't see where I can just unmute. I'll ask all to unmute. Okay, so I've just invited people to unmute. And if people want to just say hi and just thank you, because I know that everybody who's been here is coming away better educated, and I have to think more in love with LiveGood than they already were. I know I am, and I already loved it. So
that means so much. That really means so much,
true.
Lisa. You did a great job on the call. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. Oh, thank you, Sue. Yeah.
Glenn from North Carolina.
North Carolina. All right, man. I'll see you in July.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time out with us this afternoon or morning, wherever you're at.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. This is Diane from Arkansas.
Hi, Diane from Arkansas. My pleasure. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Ryan, for making us feel like a family.
Oh, my pleasure, Sue. That's exactly my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are amazing. So on that note, thank you everyone for being here. And Ryan, we thank you so much. And please tell Lisa we thank her too and appreciate her. Okay.
I will. I have to go tell her that right now. She has dinner ready. So I'm gonna go out.
Go eat. All right, everyone go enjoy your evening. Thanks so much again. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.